Welcome back to the Vainglory China Invitational. We're in our final day, guys. We're going straight into our semifinals and finals. My name is Wolf. With me is Valdez. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm very excited to get into the semifinals and finals. One thing we do have to tell you guys before we get into anything is that the first place versus second place of the other group actually happened. Those two matches actually happened. So we do have our winners from each group and our losers from each group.
That's right.
Already decided. So We're going to start from there.
So we're going to be starting with our losers match and then our winners match. And in just a moment, we'll give you guys kind of the standings, the overview of where these teams are, who won and who lost, as well as the scores. Because the broadcast is going to be very, very long if we didn't actually kind of skip ahead to this part. But here's our prize pool: 420,000 RMB. It's about 70 grand. We started out with 8 teams. We're now in our semifinals. As mentioned yesterday, there's our best of 3s, and of course the finals is just going to be a single best of 5.
Yeah, and semifinals being double elimination. That's what we were talking about before. We're actually going to start with the winners match first off, and then we will have that losers match. But going into the groups and how we got here, DMG and ETW coming out of Group A, DMG in first place, ETW in second after playing that tiebreaker. And here we actually have it on screen, so this is much easier to see.
Yeah, so basically our winners match will be between DMG and CNL, as people expected, and losers match will be between ETW and Delta. Yeah, of course, the winner of the losers match will have another chance against the loser of the winner match. And of course, the winner of that will face the winner of the winners match in the final. Hopefully that was, explained well enough for you guys. It's basically a 4-person group, essentially. The 2 winners go to the finals.
And of course we did those 2 matches a little bit earlier on because if we had to put that in with our broadcast here, it actually would have been way too long. And so they had to shorten it just a little bit.
Yeah. So just taking a look now at, of course, our winning teams, having a short little interview. Unfortunately, we won't be able to translate it for you guys. But just getting ready, getting heated up here for this really important match to find out who's going directly to the finals.
Yeah, and of course we do have DMG and CNL on the stage. Those are the 2 teams you are looking at. And both of them looking very confident. I feel like both these teams have a lot of personality.
Yeah, definitely so. I'm not sure what you said, but it was impressive.
But wow!
Wow, it was the reaction.
Yeah.
So both teams are kind of, I think, maybe showing their confidence here.
No problem. Okay, is what he said. Probably not scared to go up against DMG, who is, of course, a very scary team. But they themselves are quite a good team at that.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the match that everyone has been waiting for, as DMG was considered to be the favorite because they have Godfather and other unknown players that Godfather basically chose himself. And then CNL was a team that's been practicing for a long time before the Chinese server was released. So, most people are expecting these to be the top teams, and it seems to be the case. So like we're gonna watch a cool little video before we jump into this winners match here.
Yeah, something you guys have seen many times before, kind of just a little commercial describing the different teams coming in and how fun Vainglory can be as well.
Welcome back, everybody. After that short little video, we are going to go into DMG versus CNL very, very shortly. And it should be a really exciting match. I think the teams are currently getting ready, so we might go into a little break. I'm not sure, as our Chinese feed has done that, I see.
Yeah, well, just talking about that matchup, DMG versus CNL, definitely the top 2 teams from either group, getting out of their groups in first place, both of them, of course. And, you were talking about how this is definitely the matchup that everybody expected coming into this one. And I wouldn't be surprised if even, the team that loses this one, they go into the losers, bracket essentially, and then they win that, and then they face up against whoever wins.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see them now and again for the finals.
Yeah, it's going to be basically, I think this match and the rematch is what people are expecting to see in the grand finals. But, doesn't necessarily mean that the person who wins this match, if that situation occurs, doesn't necessarily mean the person that wins this match will actually win the whole thing, because they'll have time to kind of judge each other and kind of figure out what they might want to ban or how they might want to draft actually going into the normal actual grand finals. But the loser of this could end up losing to ETW or Delta, so anything is still possible.
Yeah, anything is definitely possible. I mean, we saw ETW was able to hold their own up against DMG before, so definitely could see if DMG does fall down, at least a very close match, and maybe even one of those teams coming up here. And I'm actually looking at the Chinese feed. They got Queen up there on the desk.
Yeah, Queen will be commentating with Girl 2 as well as our
this is Guy 2.
Guy 2, that's right. Yeah.
So Guy 2 and Girl 2 return. The mystery is solved, as we were talking about yesterday, but they had a special guest.
So yeah, Queen is going to be, it looks like, commentating with the Chinese commentators, or at least maybe doing some analysis type stuff in between the games. So giving just a little bit of extra knowledge. Queen, obviously one of the better players in the world, actually, but obviously in China as well.
Yeah, doing a great job playing that roam position for the Team Hunters. By the way, if you guys didn't know, we are going to have an event match at the end of the day. Team Hunters is going to play against the winner of the entire tournament. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. Of course, Godfather no longer on that team, so if DMG does win their match, he will go up against his former team in Hunters.
Which will be really cool, including Queen, who of course will not be able to commentate during that match as she'll be playing. So that'll be an exciting little show match at the end to see the team that's kind of established already as the best team from China, even before the server was released, versus the new blood. Can they actually stand up? I'd say most people would say no, but who knows? I mean, these teams have been practicing a lot, training a lot, playing a tournament right now, whereas maybe Hunters has not been practicing as much because they're just waiting for VIPL Season 2, as well as potentially getting used to playing on the Chinese server and things like that.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I'd say that if it's DMG that come out of that, I would predict DMG to win. Funnily enough, Godfather was definitely one of their key players on that team for sure. But if it's anyone else, I feel like Hunters will probably win, to be honest.
Oh, well, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, anything could happen. There's still a lot of time left to go. We haven't even gotten into our first game of that winners match just yet, as the teams are currently setting up. I can see them getting ready on that Chinese feed right now. But in just a moment, we'll be starting up with that first game, that first draft. And who do you favor actually going to the DMG versus CNL right now?
I'm going to have to slightly favor DMG. As I said before, kind of giving it away. I think DMG is the one team that could actually beat Hunters out of all the 4 teams here. Definitely just seems like the most polished team, the team that understands Vainglory, the most. They definitely have practiced a lot. They understand what they need to do to win. And they looked pretty clean all throughout, even though they did drop that one game to ETW that one time. I think it was just a fluke, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe so. I actually can't really decide. I can't actually say one way or the other personally. I think it really could go either way, just because I feel like even though DMG looks like they had such a professional sub, they made a few, or not professional subs, but I guess almost flawless setup. Like it looks like they have the right players for the right roles. The way we saw Godfather play, Sky, for example, was incredible. Yeah. But I feel like they definitely have some holes in their play as well, and CNL has probably been studying really, really hard. And CNL actually, had to play some tough matches yesterday and turn some games around, and that was really impressive. Where we saw DMG basically either dominate or actually get dominated in the match that they lost versus ETW. Yeah.
That's another interesting point as well, where it's like all of these teams are waiting in the venue and watching every single game. Like no one's just sitting back at the hotel or at their house if they're close by. They're all watching and studying each other's play. So. You only get the top level of play.
Let's check out Godfather, all right? The best player in China, everyone's saying
he's the Godfather of Vainglory in China.
Yeah, he's the Godfather of Chinese Vainglory. Yeah. And, he's the laner, right? We saw a few heroes listed there that we probably won't be seeing today, like a Dajio, for example, but Leo is the roam, right? He was the Catherine player in the Catherine meta, and we're going to see him probably play Arden today almost exclusively unless we see our very first Arden ban of the tournament.
Could happen. I wouldn't expect it, but you know, anything is possible, as we always do like to say. Here is LXMMXL, otherwise known as MX. He plays all positions, but I think we mostly saw him playing jungle yesterday.
Yeah.
Or rather, 2 days ago.
That's right. You know, he might be actually the one to play Arden if we see Leo going on Koshka, which we have seen before. Now let's take a look at Codename L. We're going to take a look at Lolly first. Really loves to play his Koshka. And we've also seen him play other roles. We've even seen him play the roam position as well yesterday. So he's kind of all around, even though he's listed as the jungle here.
And here is, I believe, what should be the roam position for DMG. Although he does play LOL, which is you know, kind of the theme of Team DMG. They all play every single role. I mean, you're almost always going to see Godfather in the lane, but I guess MX and Dead Doll kind of switch it around here.
Yeah, every now and then. Oh man, this guy, Ken, he loves his Celeste, but we've also seen him play a very convincing Sky just yesterday as well. So this guy is going to be your damage dealer. He's going to be well positioned. He's going to be doing damage from the back, and he is going to try to win that lane super hard.
So there you do see Team DMG in its entirety, with the ref behind, looking very stoic.
That's right. This is actually about to start, Valdez. This is going to be our winner's match here. Game 1. In this best of 3, decide which team is going directly to the grand finals.
Here we do see CNL, codename L.
And then us.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are, as they're not quite ready to jump in the game. Sometimes they go straight in. Sometimes that lobby takes a little bit longer to load, but that is totally fine. But I'm really excited because, you know, part of me wants to lead towards DMG, but part of me says I think they might mess it up, and I think it could go to game 3, or maybe CNL steals it from them. I feel like this is going to be, you know, like you said, it could be the finals. Like, these two teams might both end up in the finals. But this is actually, I think, going to be the best series that we've seen yet in this tournament. Just this one. We haven't seen them play against each other yet, so this is the clash of the winners of the groups and then the winners of the semis as well.
I think definitely the two best teams, one from each group, and I'm just very excited for today because today is going to be the day where there's none of those matches where it's like a stomp and it's totally one-sided. Every single match is going to be going either way, and Wolf,
we have the Arden ban!
Oh, man.
A Sky ban, of course, to block Sky for Ken, but an Arden ban means we will see Catherine almost certainly for both teams. Leo locks it in. Lolly is going to go ahead and take Ringo, which is interesting because we're going to see Ringo and Celeste, so it might be a jungle Ringo.
Jungle Ringo, yeah. Ken on that Celeste kind of makes sense when we do see Sky banned.
Oh.
They're thinking about Finn, and there we
gets
go.
Locked in, and we got Arona on the table as well. So this is perhaps the most interesting draft we've seen in the tournament.
Because Arden was banned, Wolf.
Yeah, Arden is banned, so things are getting a bit different. And wouldn't it be interesting if we have total unique drafts with no mirrors? It would be the first time in this tournament as well that we don't have that.
It's happening.
Godfather's going to take Scarf, and we see Rona is going to be joining Finn in the jungle. This is going to be an exciting one.
I cannot wait to get into this first game. Of course, as we mentioned before, it is going to be a best of 3 between these two teams to decide who is going to move on to the finals.
I am super hyped. We're not going to see double gauntlets. This is going to be a straight up 2 different compositions, 6 different heroes in this first game.
You guys have codename L, CNL, to thank for that ban. Thank you, CNL, for making the game a bit more interesting than what we're used to here.
So let's see how this works out. We're seeing Godfather immediately go to lane. Now, Ringo will most likely be in the jungle. I don't think you can really have Celeste go jungling. It's just not going to be you know, a strong choice. And there it is, Ken. Of course, that laner is going to be on Celeste and will go into the lane. So it is going to be a jungling Ringo. Now we'll see how he builds because we saw a little bit of a hybrid build yesterday that worked out pretty well. And we could see that same kind of hybrid, sort of ultimate-based crystal damage coming in here on Ringo again in this game.
Yeah, and I believe that was CNL that actually pulled that off, correct? I mean, that was yesterday, okay. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. The Finn pick is also quite nice because, as you guys know, his passive, he can't be stunned. So he's actually just going to be slowed by both Catherine and Celeste.
And I think this is a good blind pick choice because they know that Catherine is going to be the roam, right? The two top tier roams. The roam is such an important position right now in the meta, so top tier is Arden, and of course Catherine is going to be second to that. So you know you're going to be up against Catherine, and her stun just simply does not affect him, you know, it just slows him. Pretty smart pick.
Yep, I do like it. Godfather checking the bush. Wants to make sure he doesn't get ganked here. See him not entirely on top of his CSing so far in this game. But we'll have to come back. You know, it could just be a bit of nerves going into this game.
We're going to have a little bit of a skirmish here at the shop currently. As Fen is going to try to grab onto Lolly there, but they should be able to disengage and escape. And even Celeste is coming down, which they don't have vision of. Could actually get collapsed here. It's not going to happen. And actually Scarf coming in from the lane as well, and this is not going to be a fight that CNL wants to continue to take. They're actually just going to have to back off.
You can see Finn just doesn't really take damage. You know, he's extremely tanky. He built an early shield, so not going to take much damage from Catherine early on. And yeah, you could just kind of sit in the front. He's really going to want to bait out a lot of damage onto himself. We saw not the best targeting at times from some of the teams yesterday. Hold that thought. We are going to have a big gank here onto Godfather.
Oh.
Double stun.
Yep, double stun, and down he goes. So, very successful gank. Going to remove that pressure from the lane. Going to allow Ken to just continue to push forward, take all that farm. And now Lolly and Leo, the L's of Codename L, going to go and just take their jungle farm very safely, knowing that a 3-man gank is impossible. Ooh. Speaking of that, though, we just see Finn moving through with Rona, but they're not going to find him.
It's a pretty nice steal here for DMG. You know, they lose the kill, and they essentially lose some map control because of the 3-on-2 scenario there for just a couple seconds. But they're going to take advantage of that and just go steal some jungle farm.
Yeah.
So you see it trying to set up a gank there in the lane. Not really going to work out. And now they're going to come down here and say, oh, we lost some of these minions. Let's buy maybe and try to invade ourselves.
Yeah, they may very well do that. Also, Scarf is getting pretty aggressive in the lane right now, so they might actually just come up to relieve some of that pressure. 15 seconds until mines spawn, and here they do come up to relieve that pressure. Godfather does move back, though, towards his side of the Vayne sword. Oh, he gets stunned. Will he be a second one? Nope, not this time. So he will actually escape.
Not on top of that, and it looks like Ringo's actually going to go down, pushing a little bit too far forward. I think also a bit of miscommunication from CNL. Not Celeste, not really with her team during the game.
Yeah, we do see an attempted double stun here again. It doesn't actually go off. We do see several Heliogenesis do land. But this is a very scary position actually to have Celeste here. And she's actually going to get caught and take a ton of damage. And Ken is definitely going to die here if he gets one more hit on him. Down he goes. All he does arrive now to relieve some of that pressure is going straight for Rona, but it's not going to matter. And Finn again slowing and pulling these members. They do get away with that disengage, but we're seeing the lane swap with Ringo and Ken. Pretty interesting. We saw it kind of temporarily there. I'm not sure who's going to end up going back to lane. I think Celeste is, based on the fact that Ringo is still sticking around with Catherine right now, but this may give an opportunity for DMG to take this gold mine. They are going for it, even though it's very early.
Yeah, Leo's very low, but Lolly could come in here and try to steal, and he does get that gold mine.
Now, it's going to be, you know, a gold mine for Catherine's death, but I think it's well worth it, especially considering they couldn't have really hoped for more there. There was nothing they could have, there's no other advantage they could have gained while it was being taken, and it was so far along, so I think it was a really good choice. Crowd's liking that play.
Yeah, glad we're getting some crowd noise in here. But Celeste's going to pick up a very early Frostburn here. Going to be the first item, so we've seen that a lot generally in most of these games here in China. Liking to pick up that Frostburn, offers that just extra bit of utility, sacrificing some of that extra crystal power instead. But I do like the trade-off, especially against Rona. Rona is definitely one of those heroes who needs her mobility, needs to be in your face to be doing that damage, and providing a slow for that could be very beneficial.
Yeah. Ken is taking a lot of damage here. He's getting bullied pretty hard in the lane, but this does allow, you know, this potential move around here, this kind of like counter collapse Well, they don't go for it though, and DMG is actually just going to rotate back into the jungle, which leaves the members of CNL kind of awkwardly in the lane here. They're going to get a small push, and Ken might drop some Heliogenesis on this turret, but I don't feel like it's going to accomplish much. Does do a little bit of damage here to MX, and Ken is maybe poised to do a little bit more damage here, especially with that Ringo slow. There's just a lot of trading here overall, but nothing coming of it just yet.
It's very careful play from both of our two top teams in this tournament. And I'd say, with all this trading that has gone on, we'll hold that thought. Ken is going to be caught here. Nice little slow. Is going to have to use his boots to get away, though.
Yeah. Does escape. And again, just continue to trade. Ken needs to be here if they're going to fight like this. Oh, Scarf's ult goes down. Down goes Finn first, but Celeste and Ringo are going to fall. And it looks like we might even have an ace. We will, in fact, have an ace as Catherine falls as well. This should be a pretty easy turret. Let's see if they decide to reclaim the gold mine as well. It looks like Rona is going to go for it right away.
Yeah, easy turret and gold mine here at this point in the game. That was just a fantastic engage. Finn gets himself right in the front and takes so much of that damage. Uh-oh, Rona.
Oh my god.
Scarf going onto that turret. I guess they thought Rona could solo the gold mine, so I guess they're gonna have to forego picking up the gold mine.
She nearly did. She nearly did solo it. It was very close, but not good enough. So just a slight, I guess, read mistake there.
Yeah.
But getting a turret for this is good, and the gold mine isn't finished yet. In fact, it's only at 2/3, so it doesn't mean they're necessarily not going to get it. They still have an opportunity to go and get it. It's just, most important thing is that Rona did not actually die to the gold mine. That would have been a horrible situation.
That would have been embarrassing.
Ooh, look at this really important check here from Godfather, otherwise he would have been ganked.
Yeah, really nice scout trap to spot them coming up there. But yeah, Team CNL really needs to be careful about how they engage, because Finn, if you do a bunch of damage to him, he's going to go down. He didn't even have his ult there. He's not going to be a huge problem for you in those fights. But after they burst him down, Rona jumps in, and they have nothing left for them. They were all slowed by Finn, and it was just like a massacre after that. Along with Scarf providing that movement speed with his ult as well.
Yeah, and Scarf just did a ton of damage. I mean, it was just Finn absorbing everything that CNL threw at them. And even though he died, it was worth it because the damage follow-up was there. We're going to see if he can survive this time. Obviously, he cannot be stunned. They're going for Godfather here at the back, but he's still able to escape, putting off a ton of damage. And already down goes Celeste. And look at that, a good pull here on Lolly, and this could be yet another ace, and in fact it is.
This is domination so far. Once these guys hit 6, they just understand how to play this composition. I really have to once again point out the Finn play from Dead Doll, getting right in the middle, using his B to pull everybody towards him and away from Scarf, offering him just that little bit of extra time to get Scarf's ultimate off and just do a huge amount of damage there. So fantastic Finn play. We've seen them pick up Finn once before, kind of as a troll against IDO, but now we're seeing
so we thought, but maybe it's actually what they really like. I mean,
we're seeing it being played to the highest level against the top team, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
Showing that even though the top two roamers are definitely Arden and Catherine, especially Arden. It's like the top two roamers are Arden, and then Catherine is third.
Arden and Arden for number 3, and everybody else is just the same.
But it's just showing that there's extra, at the highest level there are other heroes that can be played with a composition like this, and it's really exciting to see. I'd be terrified to see Godfather on Sky with this composition as well, man.
Oh man,
I don't even want to think about it.
They banned out Sky from themselves, which was kind of funny, but I guess they saw Sky's, or rather Ken's play on Sky as well, and they're just like, oh, look at this!
Oh, look at this pull! Oh, gets Leo, and also Ken. Ken survives just barely, but only for a second. Now with Scarf's ult, they're going for the chase, and Ringo will fall, and Leo will fall again. There's no way he's going to escape, and that is going to be their third ace. And this is going to maybe even be a very quick game 1 here as they continue to massively dominate. 4,000 gold ahead at 10 minutes, and they will take out this turret as well.
Wolf, this is not what I expected. I expected DMG to be the better team to come out ahead in this series, but this is just overall a stomp so far. I mean, it's not as bad as some of the other stomps we've seen. Of course, CNL is still a great team, but I mean, this is kind of getting out of hand.
They really are struggling to deal with Finn. And I think that maybe even a Finn ban is warranted going into game 2 if things continue like this.
Which is kind of scary because you leave open many other heroes. You know, you leave open possibly Sky if DMG isn't going to ban that. You leave open Arden, I suppose.
Yeah.
Once again.
Definitely a lot of scary draft potential here for DMG. But I feel like Finn is definitely their strongest point, you know? Dead Doll is actually just abusing them. Look at this, pulling them in again. He's going in alone because he's so farmed, he's so ahead. MX comes in, and he doesn't die. Ken's gonna die, though. He's way out of position. Lolly getting very low. Ken escapes for now, but he cannot duel against Godfather, so down he goes. And it's going to be a 3-0 ace again. They tried to go for a risky gold mine.
Look at Godfather, he's buying. He's like, okay, you guys got it. I'm just gonna buy my weapon.
And there you go, 15-2 score, 5,000 gold lead, and you know they can't really get another turret. It's too far forward to actually do that, but they can continue to push the lane. They're not going to take a minion mine either. They just want to further their lead.
Not taking the gold mine either. I think they may just siege this for a bit, try to do some poke damage, aim for a big pull, and there it is.
Lolly gets pulled, and he is going to get exploded, burst down. Scarf's ult here not doing too much for him overall, but we're just going to see this turret slowly sieged up and pushed down. Dead Doll at the front again to tank. And I don't think they should get any more kills, but Ken does get caught here.
The A is overdrive now for Finn, so he gets that stun down, and Ken just has no hope of surviving it. He's going to be anywhere near Finn in any of these fights.
And they sieged down a turret and got a kill. They're just bullying at this point. Now 7,000 gold ahead, and if they go buy right now with all the gold they have, look at this. There's 2,800 gold is how much gold Rona has. 2,800 gold.
I liked that camera shot, Mr. Observer. Doing a good job today. Finn, pretty much the most badass hero in Vainglory up until this point, especially in this game.
All right, Rona dropping out all that money. And this means she's going to be even stronger in the next fight.
Oh man, not even going really for survivability. She has a light armor as well as a Shiver Steel, which offers a bunch of health, but going Sorrow Blade into breaking point. I suppose when you're this far ahead, you don't even like need life steal. You could just get up in there and do a ton of damage.
Yeah. All right, Dead Doll over here actually 2v1ing, but Ken gets caught anyways, trying to save himself with the solar collapse. And we do see them coming up here at this point. Rona does grab that solo kill, and Godfather is getting very low. Looks like he's not going to be able to escape, and this is actually going to be the first 2v2 fight that we get to witness at this point, but it's still not going to matter. Look at Rona's build. Look at how much damage she has. Like you said, really building damage over sustainability and defense. Only that light armor, and Leo trying to survive, trying to stop that ace, but he's not going to. 2 seconds to go, but it's still an ace, and this time they're actually going to go ahead and grab that gold mine.
20-3 right now after all that has transpired. This is just to say it again, it's a stomp. DMG is coming out hard. They're saying, we are the team to beat, and they're making it very obvious. So I'm just sitting back and enjoying the amazing play out of this team.
I mean, they don't have a hero with a large health pool as their jungle, right? They have Ringo, which is part of the reason why this comp ends up stacking up pretty badly versus DMG, because if he gets caught and Ken gets caught, you know, that's two really easy targets to kill. And even though Catherine is insanely tanky and has her barrier to protect herself, she can't shield anybody like Arden can, for example. So if either of those characters, Lolly or Ken, get burst down, then it becomes a 3v2 fight. And oh god, they're going to actually try to push here, but I think this is not a bad idea, but it could end disastrously. Let's see.
And they did get spotted here. Dead Doll, I think he's being a bit threatening, you know, looking for that hook, but not really having his allies with him for now. And yeah, I definitely agree. I think Finn is like the perfect counter pick against what CNL is running, and it's just fantastic drafting out of DMG with the blind pick. Of course, they didn't know what they were going against, but they assumed, you know, at least a Catherine, but definitely really works against these two squishy heroes as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's kind of sad that we don't even really get to see what Lolly had planned. You know, he's building only attack damage, no crystal. No hybrid this time. Oh, the failed pull this time.
Yeah, nice reflex block there by Ken, so not going to be as one-sided this time around in this fight. No hook left over.
All right, let's see. Here we go. They're actually going to try to burst down Godfather. There's a Celestial Storm, and they will get him. So it's going to be a 3v2, but Lolly is very, very low. Barely survives there. He's actually trying to kite his way back. Doing a ton of damage to MX in the process, but I think they're just too fed. Look at how much damage Rona is able to do to Leo here, and Dead Doll is just ignoring damage. It's not a concern of his at all. Ken does get back up to full health, though, and now Dead Doll alone is going to be pretty useless, and will actually get taken out. So we're going to see a reverse ace here for CNL.
Wow. I guess just getting ahead of themselves there, and it was a really nice pick on Scarf, actually. Using that Ringo ult, doing a bunch of damage, and then he does get slowed by Ringo, using the reflex block, actually, for the ultimate to not take as much damage from that damage over time. So, kind of mispositioning there by Godfather, getting a little bit too far ahead, and you know, I think it's just one of those fights where the team is so far ahead, they think they can do anything, they feel invincible, and then they're like, uh-oh, okay, we need to like take a step back. And I'm sure that DMG is kind of just going to gather themselves and do okay from here on out.
Now, Godfather needs to be careful. Again, he's way out in front, not protected. Bad positioning is going to cost him his life yet again, and Dead Doll isn't even here. While he takes a ton of damage, will actually fall here, so it's going to be a 2v2, and MX has other things to say. He's going to go straight for Ken. Ken trying to escape with that good solar collapse, and he's actually regenerating a lot of his health here. Leo doing a good job of blocking, but down he goes, even with the silence. I think Ken might have some trouble escaping here. And see if Dead Doll can actually trap him here. Ken is going to, or excuse me, MX is going to jump over the wall. He's kiting really well, but he can't solar collapse Dead Doll. Dead Doll can't be stunned.
You can see how much that frost burn really does work on Rona. Just as you said before, just way too farmed up at this point, way too far ahead. DMG is, so there's really no hope of trying to kill them there. They are going to go for the Kraken here. There are two turrets left over by that Vein Crystal, but this is going to be a very, very big push from DMG.
You know, I feel like the Kraken is just one of these things at this stage in the game when you get it, you just add so much extra pressure. It also becomes, just by the nature of this game, so much more difficult to target heroes, specifically while you're under the Kraken, because it's such a large object that can be targeted by many abilities, as well as, you know, just when you're trying to auto-attack. They're not even going to stick with it. They're going to push really hard. A big pull here. Catches Leo and Ken. And look at the Scarf's ult to follow up. Catherine will be fine, but Celeste will not. And this is actually going to be a game-winning pull because Leo falls now as well. And even with this ult, it's not going to matter. Oh, he might even die.
Doing huge chunks of damage right now as Godfather with that Spitfire. Just very, very far ahead. And now going to take out one turret. Lolly getting hit once again.
Oh.
Frostburn.
I think he'll escape. He's trying to grab MX, but it's not going to matter. He gets stunned. But
I think they're just fooling around at this point. This is definitely going to be the game-ending push.
That's right. The Kraken will end the game. It's still at about 90% health. And here we go. Down will go the Vein Crystal. And DMG will take a very convincing game number one. Dropping only one ace when they got a bit too excited, a bit too overextended. But overall, a nearly perfect game out of DMG, showing their dominance. And, you know, I thought this series was